Hey guys, it's Alex Bertson again. I'm here making another video about the Michael teachings. I made a video recently about the roles in the Michael teachings, which are the different soul types that you can choose to be for a reincarnational cycle. And today I'll be talking about soul ages and Michael teachings. And if you don't know what Michael teachings is, it's a channeled body of knowledge that talks about our soul's characteristics and the different characteristics we take on for each life. And it talks about our reincarnational cycle and the different lessons that we go through in our development. And the Soul Ages talks about the reincarnational cycle. There's 5 main perspectives that we go through where we learn certain lessons while we're incarnating on Earth, and there's 2 more Soul Ages once we're done incarnating. So I'll get into the details of that now. So these are the soul ages on the left. There's infant, baby, young, mature, old, transcendental, and infinite. The first 5 are the ones that happen while you're incarnating on planet Earth. And the last 2 happen on the higher planes once you're done with your reincarnational cycle. So with the soul ages, there's 7 levels to each soul age where you get more established in it over time through several lives, and you progress through these levels until you reach the next soul age. So that's what those numbers are on the left. Those correspond to each level resonates with a certain soul age, but it also resonates with a certain role. So you can see the roles on the right next to the soul ages. These are the ones that align with each soul age. Each soul age kind of reflects the qualities of those roles. So if you want to learn more about the roles, I'm not going to cover them in this video, but you can go back and watch my roles video and you'll get a full introduction to all that. So the infant soul age aligns with server. Baby soul age aligns with artisan. Young soul age aligns with warrior. Mature soul age aligns with scholar. Old soul age aligns with sage. Transcendental soul age aligns with the priest. And infinite soul age aligns with the king. So this is what the reincarnational cycle looks like with all the levels. These are the different stages you go through in order. So there's also different names that are given to these. It's called the focus. Soul age and focus are the same thing. So when you get your own chart channel to get your own information on which soul age you're in, you can look where it says focus towards the bottom of the chart. And it'll say survival, structure, achievement, relationship, or context, along with infant, baby, young, mature, or old. So the infant soul age is described as the survival focus, because it's all about getting used to the body and all the basic functions to learn how to survive. Baby soul age is structure, because you start dealing with structures of civilization and society and rules, regulations, things you do to become part of the greater society. That's what happens during that soul age. Achievement is the young soul age, so that's when you're most focused on worldly success. Relationship is the mature soul age, because you're focused on relationships, the inner world, and your emotions. And context is the old soul age, where you start philosophizing about how everything works, build context for how everything fits together, how you understand life, what lessons you've learned, what you want to teach other people. that's what that soul age is about. So like I said, there's those 7 levels and for each soul age. So depending on which level you're on, you're further along in that soul age. But there's a good analogy that was made by people who teach about the Michael teachings, comparing the levels to going to the beach. So at level 1, it's like you're sticking your toe in the water. You're just barely entering that soul age for the first time. So there isn't a lot of movement made at first. It's just a little step in to experience what it's like. But there's a lot of moving back into the previous soul age that happens because you're more comfortable with that at that point. Level 2, you're halfway into the water, so you're halfway into the soul age and halfway out. So let's say you were a mature soul age, then and you're level 2, then you'd be wondering if you should focus more on worldly success, which would be young soul age, or focus more on relationships, and that would be mature soul age. You'll be kind of going in between the two, not knowing which one to prioritize quite yet. Level 3, you're completely submerged, so you're completely in that soul age at that point, but you're not necessarily confident enough to go out into the outer world to be functioning from that soul age completely. People who are at level 3 could be more introverted or keep to themselves and not go into public as much as they would have otherwise. So level 4, you re-emerge with the soul age's perspective. You're fully established in it now. Level 4 is right in the middle. So you're comfortable with the soul age, you're functioning from it, and you're comfortable exploring that soul age completely. So level 5 is where you splash around and play. That's when you are becoming a little bit more eccentric in your approach to that soul age, trying the extents of it, learning things that you haven't learned yet, doing things you haven't done, really exploring the extents of it and having fun with it. Level 6 is where you are preparing to get to the end of the soul age, but you have to deal with all the karma that you accumulated throughout the whole soul age. And this is when all the karma gets dealt back to you. And this is especially hard in the mature soul age, which is the most difficult soul age, because in the earlier soul ages, survival, structure, and achievement, which is infant, baby, and young, those are all focused in the outer world. Once you get to the mature soul age, it goes to the inner world, which is very difficult to transfer into. But this is when a lot of the karma from relationships comes back to you, and you have to sort out through all this stuff, probably through several lives to resolve everything and move on. Once you're done with that, you're at level 7, which is when you return to shore. So that means you've had your experience with the soul age, you're at the last stage, you're kind of winding down, taking a break, but at the same time you're in a position to teach others about what you've learned in that soul age. So people at level 7 usually become the teacher or example of the soul age that they're in, and teach people all the lessons that they've learned. So there's something called previous cycles that you'll see in your chart as well. And this relates to how many times you've completed all the soul ages, including transcendental and infinite, which happen on the higher planes. So when you've completed a whole cycle, going through all these different soul ages and returning to source, then you've completed a cycle. So to complete a cycle, it takes about 100 to 200 lives on average. Some of the roles like to go through it faster, especially priests. They like to learn their lessons quick and move through the different perspectives fast as they can. Others, like warriors, go through lots of lives, but it's 100 to 200 lives on average to complete a cycle. But if you get a chart handle, you'll see how many cycles you've completed before. And this indicates how many times the Soul Age cycle has been completed before you incarnated on Earth. Each cycle is completed on a new planet in a sentient life form with a new essence configuration. So you choose a different role each time with different secondary roles as well. So you can focus on different lessons and have a different perspective and play the game differently than you did the last time. So on Earth, the average previous cycles for humans is 4. Jesus had 19 previous cycles, which is the most of anyone we know who incarnated on Earth. That's the most. Adolf Hitler, in contrast, had 7 previous cycles. But in my experience, for the most of the people in the popular sphere, like celebrities, have 10 previous cycles. And I also have 10 previous cycles. So it could be that the people I'm attracted to are at the same level, roughly. I've seen most of the charts I've gotten channeled are at about 10. Sometimes a couple more, like higher, like 11 or 12. So if you're watching this, you probably have somewhere around that 10 to 11 or 12, something like that. Having more previous cycles creates a more complex soul due to having more experience. So it's like having, you know, a higher end car, because you have more built into it. There's more functionality. It's a little more complex. Or having a new model of a computer or the newer iPhone. It's kind of, that's what the soul is like after it's had more previous cycles. It's more complex. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you're better just because you've had more previous cycles, but having more experience is going to make you a little bit more complex than you would usually be. So now let's talk a little bit about each soul age. So the first soul age, infant, is called the survival focus, and it emphasizes lessons about survival. So you would probably be in like small tribes at this point and be doing very simple things, just learning how to survive, getting food, shelter, clothing, all those things. It's very simple time because you're learning very basic lessons. So you can be functioning in a higher consciousness way throughout your soul age, or a lower consciousness way. So that's, we can call like the positive pole or the negative pole. If you're in the positive pole during the infant soul age, you can be simple, earthy, childlike, naive, intuitive, living in the moment, unquestioning. It's like you're in the Garden of Eden. To be mystical and work with symbols. And the mystical aspect is interesting to note because since this is the first soul age, you're coming straight from source. So the energy is fresh and new. You're not like weighed down by all this experience that you've had. So that's why it's so simple, and you can have a mystical flavor to you in that stage. In the negative pole, they're animalistic, helpless, frightened, ignorant, and aggressive. So once you're done with the infant soul age, where you focus on survival, then you go into the baby soul age, which focuses on structure. So it emphasizes lessons about working with the structure of civilization. In the positive pole, you're a good citizen, conscientious, concerned, loyal, family-minded, can be relied on to do the right thing, creates rules, tends to see things simply, values security, and structures the chaos of the infant souls. In the negative pole, you're unbending, dogmatic, petty, bureaucratic. You may aggressively defend what is right, rigid, and you operate more from emotion than reason. And you can be brutal and violent, unquestioning of authority. So the next soul age is the young soul age, where you're focused on achievement. It emphasizes lessons about worldly success. In the positive pole, you're productive, industrious, authoritative, create new and more efficient structures, create wealth, foster progress, and lead the way. In the negative pole, you're competitive, pushy, self-righteous, excessively materialistic, lacking insight as to your own motivations. You're an I win, you lose. You have that kind of attitude. Your winner takes all, vying for advantage, exploiting now for there is no tomorrow. Seeing situations as only I'm right and you're wrong. So this is actually the current soul age that the planet is in on average. This is the basic perspective we're at right now, which is focusing on the outer world and achieving as much as we can. The average soul age on the planet is young level 5. And in the US, we're at young level 6. So slightly ahead, but this is where we're getting back all the karma from the whole soul age perspective that the country is in. So we'll actually be moving into this next one, the mature soul age, on the planet soon. So the mature soul age emphasizes lessons about relationships, emotions, and the inner worlds. It's the most difficult soul age because, like I said earlier, you start turning inward for the first time instead of focusing on the outer world. You've dealt with the outer world and all the lessons there, and now you got to go into the inner world and sort out your emotions and get in touch with who you are inside. And you go very deep. So in the positive pole, you're emotionally open, relationship oriented, you care about others, you're inclusive, perceptive, open to spiritual growth, aware of inner meanings, in touch with both the young soul and the old soul perspectives, and thus the most balanced soul age. Because the mature soul age is right in between the young soul and old soul perspective. So they can relate to young souls and they can start to see the perspective of old souls because they now focus on the inner world. And the old soul age is also focused on the inner world. In the negative pole, you're identified, intense, you can have soap opera dramatics, be emotionally explosive, neurotic, and can create successive crises and be a victim of them. So I think Mexico is in the mature soul age right now, so they're a little bit ahead of the U.S. in terms of the soul age. And there's other countries I think are in the mature soul age. I believe lots of parts of Europe are in the mature soul age. So that's that soul age. Then the last soul age that you go through during the reincarnational cycle on Earth is the old soul age, which is focused on context. It emphasizes lessons about perspective. Like I was saying before, you start philosophizing about how everything works. You create a bigger picture and understanding of how everything fits together. You think about not just you and someone else, but the greater context of how everybody in your life fits together and how people work together. Really try and understand and build perspective about everything that you've been through in your whole reincarnational cycle. You're not as motivated to succeed as you would be like a young soul. So that can be a little bit difficult. You're a little bit more eccentric during this soul age, and more laid back overall. So I'll read the positive pole stuff here. You're easygoing, caring, laid back, harmlessly eccentric, kindly, spiritually aware, intensely perceptive, gentle, accepting, philosophical. You have a sense of love for everyone. You make good teachers, searching for the truth, and worldly. In the negative pole, you can have difficult personalities. There can be intense self-karma around liking self due to all the experience that it's been had in past lives. You're impoverished, weird, struggling, lazy, and unmotivated. So that's the down, like the difficult part about being an old soul. You don't feel as motivated to succeed in the world, and so they can struggle with that kind of stuff, like I said. So that's all the soul ages that you go through during your reincarnational cycle. There's two more after that, transcendental and infinite, which I'll talk about in a second. But I wanted to show this breakdown of the percentage of how much of the population are each soul age. So infant soul age, 10% of the population's there. Baby soul age, 23%. Young soul age, 32%. Mature soul age, 24%. And old soul age, 11%. So you can see that the majority of the population is at young. But the second most populous one is mature soul age, and all the souls who are in the young soul age are going to be moving into the mature soul age coming up. So that's going to drastically change the perspective, overall perspective of people on this planet. So things will start being a little bit different. Societies and countries will be approaching things like for example, a mature soul age movement is like the hippie movement. The stuff that happened with that's kind of mature soul age. So movements like that are going to come to the forefront more. The mature soul age goes really deep and focuses on relationships and emotions. So what we can see happening is a lot more focus on the arts, and maybe building culture more and our connections to others. So it won't be so much about competition and being the best you can be and all that. Those are all the mottos of the young soul age. So that's kind of what it's like in the US right now. You can see that the young soul age is the focus. It's got to achieve, got to be the best you can be, that kind of thing. That's totally young soul. And mature soul age is going to be a lot more sensitive. We're going to see a lot more people creating, deep works of art and media and different things like that. So that's the balance of the population right now. We actually don't have too many new souls coming in at this point. So there isn't going to be an increase in the amount of infant souls anytime soon, because we're not sure if society can get past its growth point and not like self-destruct or create lots of problems. And having a lot of new souls coming in could make things difficult in that sense. So that means that all the souls are going to be progressing through these soul ages, and the later soul ages are going to get higher in number. So now let's talk about the soul ages that come after your reincarnational cycle is done. Once you finish the old soul stage level 7, then you stop incarnating and you wait for the members of your entity, which is your soul family, which is about 1,000 souls, that are all connected together as one entity. You'll start combining your energies together and sharing things. You'll become more of a cohesive unit. So when you're in the transcendental soul age, you don't incarnate on planet Earth anymore. But there are some souls that do this, and it comes through usually a priest, because well, so how it works is there's something called a walk-in that happens. So the last incarnating 7th level old soul in their entity will get displaced by a representative of their entity, and they'll take it over their body in the last few years of their life. And they do this to catalyze massive social change in a civilization, and then prepare the way for arrival of an infinite soul that does a similar thing. It functions the same way for the infinite soul. So basically what that means is there will be someone who's finishing off their cycle, and then their whole entity, a group of 1,000 souls, are going to be expressing through a representative of that entity, one soul at a time, through the body of this last incarnating soul. So the incarnating soul will leave their body and be taken over by this representative. So they have complete access to all members of their entity's knowledge and experience. So it's a very powerful force when somebody's when the transcendental soul is being incarnate through someone. So this has happened at certain times in the past, usually during when we need social change in a civilization. And the previous transcendental souls came through Gandhi, Zoroaster, Muhammad, and Socrates. So usually, like I was saying, this soul is a priest, the one that gets displaced by a representative of their entity. Because priest aligns with the transcendental soul age. It's the sixth role and the sixth soul age. So the energy just naturally fits. So like Gandhi was a priest, and his entity came through him in his last few years to work on social changes. So after they do that, then that paves the way for the infinite soul to come in. And so, well, one thing I was going to say about the transcendental soul age is that they're living on the upper causal plane. The whole entity is. So the infinite soul is on even the higher planes, the exalted planes. It could be either the mental, messianic, or Buddhaic planes. And the infinite soul is like the transcendental soul when it incarnates, except it includes the soul cadre. And a cadre is a group of 7 entities. So it's even greater in size. It's about 7,000 to 10,000 souls that are going to be incarnating through one human. So, yeah, because it's a cadre, it's going to be much more intense. Because it's 7 times as many souls that are involved in this. So, when an infinite soul incarnates, it's to catalyze massive spiritual change in a civilization. And it follows shortly after the transcendental soul incarnates. So what happens is the representative of that cadre on the other side is going to replace the last incarnating 7th level old soul of its cadre through a walk-in, taking over the body in its about last month of life. And it has complete access to the members of the whole cadre, all 7,000 to 10,000 souls, all their knowledge and experience. And it's all coming through one human. So the previous infinite souls came through Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, and Lao Tzu. So this is, very strong force. And you can see that those 4 names they basically started religions and big movements just by their presence on the planet. So that's very important. They're very important figures because they're remembered for thousands of years after the time. I believe that there's going to be some infinite souls incarnating coming up. I don't know how far off in the future, but I've heard it mentioned. But it could be more like 3 or 4 of them at once, and some of them might be female. So it'll be a little bit different than it has been in the past. But what happens with the infinite souls is they incarnate through one human being, the last incarnating 7th level old soul of their cadre. They incarnate because they're trying to help move us from an earlier soul age into a new soul age. It's a whole transfer of perspective, so they need to assist with that process. So when Buddha and Jesus were incarnating, they were moving from overall like a baby soul age focus on the planet into the young soul focus. So they helped establish the young soul age on the planet. And now we're going to need some help of some infinite souls to help us move into the mature soul age on the planet as the average soul age. So that's what their role is. And we'll see that again when it comes up to the old soul age being the overall perspective on the planet. So that's it. That's all the soul ages. You see there's different perspectives in each one. There's not too many people that you're going to know that are going to be infant soul age because they live usually in small tribes and they're not usually part of society. But there are some that are the structure focus, the baby soul age that you'll come across. Most of my friends and family and clients have been either in the mature or old soul age. I'm actually in the mature soul age, level 3. So maybe it's because that's just more of my focus, and the people I'm connected with are usually mature or old. But you should, if you're interested in the Michael teachings and you haven't gotten your chart channeled yet, you should definitely get a chart channeled from Shepherd Hoodwin. Just go to his order page on his website, and his website it's spelled SHEPHERDHOODWIN.com. And he's great at this. He always gives me great channels that are like super accurate. That's who I refer to for charts right now. Highly recommended to go through him. So that's all the soul ages. Like I said, the U.S. is at the young soul age, and we're moving into the mature soul age as of coming up as the whole society. So we're going to see some changes in that. Another interesting thing about the Soul Age is it's been represented in other places too. There's actually this other system that was made by an anthropologist called the Spiral Dynamics, and it has almost the exact same stages listed out, and it shows that you kind of evolve from one stage to another, and each stage is built upon the last one. So it transcends and includes the last stage. So I might make a video comparing this to the Spiral Dynamics system to show how they actually fit together, and that the Spiral Dynamics system has actually outlined a real evolution that's actually taught in the Michael teachings. So that'll be interesting. So that's it, guys. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, please like the video and subscribe. I'll have some more Michael Teachings videos coming up. But I have a lot of stuff I want to do with this channel. You know, I'm also studying Vedic astrology right now. And I do study human design some too. And I make spiritual profiles about celebrities through those three systems. I've also studied Enneagram for quite a while, so I might do videos on the Enneagram and kind of compare that to other systems like the Michael Teachings rules. So that's some other content that you might see coming up soon. So that's it, guys. Thanks so much. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.